The Reddit title reads: My boyfriend, who is 26 years old, slept with a friend with benefits after 3 dates but before exclusivity. I, a 25-year-old, don't know how to feel. My boyfriend, 26, and I, 25, have been together for 6 months now. Last week, something came up, and I asked the last time he slept with someone before me. So they're asking the difficult questions now, questions you probably don't want to know the answers to because it could disrupt what you have. But asking this 6 months in, it's probably a bit late. You want to be asking these questions before the exclusivity talk, which is likely going to happen around the 2 month mark. So she's held off for a while and finally she burst. She knew she wanted an answer to this question and she didn't like the answer he gave. He couldn't really remember when it was, but according to his description, it would have been 3 weeks after we started seeing each other, so 3 dates in. This is the difficult part with modern dating. People are going to be dating multiple people while you're dating that person. Um, it's very silly for you to think, okay, I'm going on a date with someone. We've been on 2 or 3 dates, and not expecting they're probably going on other dates during that same week. Like you could take a girl out for a really wonderful day date. Maybe you go to the beach. Maybe you go to a restaurant. Maybe you spoil her a little bit with some ice cream and coffee, and then literally the next day she could go on a date with a guy and sleep with him. It's not a nice thought. Unfortunately, that's just the modern dating market we're in. Does it make that person a bad person? No, but it is a very tight line to walk, and we'll get more into the pros and cons of someone who is dating basically behind your back, and especially if they're not upfront about it. That's where issues will arise. He says he was honest about it all and told me he didn't see it as a problem back then or now, which is why he never brought it up. He probably did see it as a problem, which is why he didn't bring it up. He didn't want you to think badly of him because deep down he knows it's probably information that would hurt you, and it would probably hurt him as well if he found out you were dating someone and sleeping with someone on the side. He didn't see us as together, so he thought it was okay. Yeah, look, you're not exclusive yet, so he's not breaking any rules. But if you want to build something with someone and you want to get to that relationship stage and you care about that person, I feel like you do need to open up about that. But again, we're walking a very tight line, and we'll get more into it after I finish this paragraph. He did admit he felt a bit bad after it, as he knew he had feelings developing for me, but didn't think I'd have a problem with it, and made him realise even more, so he wanted things to progress with me. I guess that is the benefit of dating other people while you're dating someone, is that you can compare, and if the other person you're dating does something bad, it's going to make the person who's your main one look much better. But I think it has more negatives than positives, that's for sure. She was a girl he had casually been sleeping with once every 2 or so weeks and had no feelings for her. This whole friends with benefits, sleeping without attachment, you have to be pretty narcissistic and have zero feelings for someone if you can do that. I think when you sleep with someone, it's normal to start having feelings for that person, especially from a girl's point of view, but also men as well. I think men do get attached to people they sleep to. So for him saying there's no feelings at all for her, I highly doubt it. During these 3 weeks, he had been talking to her about only slept with her once. I've realised that the night after he slept with her, we saw each other and had an exclusivity chat, which is when he cut things off with her. Again, you just got to take his word for the truth, but at the same time, you should always ask more questions and do some investigating yourself. But again, I mentioned this. It's just not a nice thing, is it? If you go out on a date, everything goes really well, you're building something with that person, having good feelings towards that person, but then finding out the night before or on that same day they go out on a date with someone else and sleep with them. It's nasty, and it certainly does put a stain on your relationship and your viewpoint on that person. Now, is it enough to break up with that person? Probably not, but it's certainly something to just put in the bad column, make note of it, and see how they act further on in their relationship. It's definitely a red mark against the relationship. She says, I just don't know how to feel. I love him so much and I truly believed he was my forever, but now I can't stop thinking about this. And you're completely in your right to feel this way. If it's affecting you, it's overstepped a boundary, don't let anyone tell you that you're overreacting just because you two weren't in a relationship together. However, if this continues to eat away at you in the long term, then maybe you should cut things off. But unfortunately, in this modern dating marketplace with the apps, people are talking to multiple people and going on multiple dates. You see it more from the girl's point of view because she has more options. A guy might only have one or two dates lined up, while a woman has a plethora of men who want to meet up with her. But in this regard, it's the other way around. And yeah, if it keeps eating away at you, then maybe you should call things off. My point of view is, again, just have it as a red mark about that person and about that part of your relationship, and then just see how things progress, see if they are a good partner. But yeah, definitely be on your guard about it. It was early, but over those 3 dates we spent a lot of time together, said we liked each other, spoke about what we'd want for a potential relationship. Plus we were messaging every day. Yeah, I feel really sorry for this girl. She obviously really likes this guy, and it's clear she's dating with intent. She's dating with intent to have a future with this guy, and her opinion of him has changed, and she probably feels some insecurity and doubt about her and the relationship. I remember during this time we had asked each other if we were seeing anyone else, which we both said no. Okay, so this is completely taken a different turn now. This guy has lied to you. So initially I was like, okay, I can kind of see where the guy's coming from. You haven't had the exclusivity talk. Um, you were just dating. It's still very early stages. He's in his right to sleep with other women, and you haven't had that exclusivity talk. But here he's just flat out lied, and that is not good. And I would actually go as far to say this is potential breakup material, because if he's lying that early on in the relationship, he's going to lie later on in the relationship. So yeah, this is not good now. This is completely turned. He's told me he didn't mention it as it was early and he didn't think he needed to, as he was planning to end things with her regardless of us. Yeah, that's a rubbish excuse. He lied because he wanted you and he wanted her at the same time. And we don't know what happened with this other girl. She could have left him and he's would have stayed dating both of you at the same time if she didn't leave. He's just saying he left, and you got to, I guess, trust his word. But I wouldn't trust his word because he's lied to you very early on in the relationship, or the dating ship, talking stage, whatever you want to call it. He said he didn't plan to sleep with her again, but apparently she'd been asking to see him a lot and figured there was nothing wrong with seeing her one last time. Yeah, this guy's a horny boy, horny young guy. Final paragraph. He had not had sex during this period or even kissed. Oh, we had not had sex. Okay, so obviously they're taking their time with this relationship. This girl who's posted this obviously doesn't like to, jump straight into sex. She likes to, again, she's dating with intention. She wants a guy for the long term. She doesn't want to be seen as some 304. She wants to take her time and date properly for the future. But we were getting closer emotionally. I remember telling him it was okay if he was still chatting to other girls, but also said I didn't want to be under the impression he was only seeing me and not sleeping or talking to anyone else, which he responded that he was only interested in me. So it sounds like she's asked this guy on multiple occasions if he's talking to other girls, and again, he's lied. And if he lies now, he's going to lie further down the line when he's more invested in you and he's more worried about you leaving. He's told me he meant that, but didn't think sleeping with her changed anything towards our progression at that time of things. Look, he's coming across as very selfish, and I think a lot of us are selfish in the initial dating stage. Like, we want what we want, and maybe we don't think about that other person as much because you're just getting to know them. But you've got to think about there's multiple things here. Firstly, like, is he using protection? Like, for all we know, he could be catching an STI from this girl and then passing it on to you, which is a major issue. Secondly, it's just the thought of, you're dating this guy, you're kissing him, getting intimate with him, and just the thought that the day before or a couple of hours before he's sleeping with someone else, it's just icky. Like, for me, that's just makes me want to vomit in my mouth. And so those are the two physical parts here. Then there's the emotional, mental part of, again, she's dating with intention, and this guy obviously isn't. He's playing the field, and he's lying to her face. If he really cared about this girl and he wanted something long term, he'd be open and honest about it. He said, "Look, I'm dating these multiple people. I just want to make sure I make the right decision. We haven't had that exclusivity talk. If you want to be exclusive, say it now, and I'll bin off this other girl." But he hasn't done that, so yeah, I think this girl could do much better. Find a guy who has good intentions and isn't going to lie to you in the first few weeks of dating. She finishes by saying, "Since he's told me he understands why I feel hurt and wasn't the right decision, but doesn't think it's anything to worry about now and doesn't want to lose me over this, I overthink so much and just don't know how I should feel about this. You feel how you should feel. There's no wrong answer here." And this guy's just backtracking now, and he still keeps making out that you shouldn't feel the way you're feeling, which is a form of gaslighting. He's just trying to cover himself here, so it's not a good look from his point of view. My final thoughts here. Yeah, look, dating other people while you're dating someone in the early stages is fine. I do feel like people should open up about if they are sleeping with other people at the same period, because I think the other person has a right to know, because it is quite disgusting if you're sleeping with someone and then the next day you're sleeping with another person, especially if you're going on dates, you're spending time, you're having emotional conversations. I think it's a sign of dishonesty, and that is not a good trait, and I'd be repulsed by that. So that's certainly a red cross. But the biggest red cross here is this guy just straight up lied to you when you asked questions, when you were opening up to him, and he was lying to cover himself, and he wasn't thinking about you in that period. So, girl, I think you can do better, and you come across as someone who's very sweet and has good values and morals, and this guy doesn't seem to have that. So hey, maybe you should give him a taste of his own medicine and start dating other men and sleeping with other men, and not tell him because you thought, oh, I didn't think it was a big thing. I didn't think it was anything to worry about. But yeah, that's all, guys. Cheers. See ya.